So, Alex, what are your thoughts on this ILC regulation, ILCs in general, the stupid now demand deposit account issue?
Yeah. Well, okay. So first, the now account, demand deposit account, is totally just a distinction without a difference. I think you're absolutely right. There's functionally like no difference between an ILC and a regular bank charter, except for the big distinction, which is the one that banks get grumpy about, which is if you have an ILC, you're not subject to the Bank Holding Company Act. And just to be like really clear about that, I mean, the problem for a Walmart or an Apple or whoever is they can't be subject to the Bank Holding Company Act. Like, it's just not compatible with their business, right? And so if you basically said the only people who can have bank charters are ones that are subject to the Bank Holding Company Act, you are essentially saying, and banks don't say this out loud, but this is sort of the implication of what would happen. You're saying that no large non-bank corporation can ever be a bank, right? And
yeah,
I think that kind of going back to your point about like, as a society, what do we want and what's like the outcome that we want to get to? The thing that bugs me about all of this is I don't see any evidence, and maybe the folks working at the Bank Policy Institute can send me a letter and correct me if I'm getting this wrong. But like, I don't really see any evidence that ILCs have ever like wrecked any part of the banking industry. Like, I don't know of any instances where they've posed a safety and soundness risk. I think that some of the very largest non-bank financial services company, like a GE or something, did end up becoming systemically important in ways that probably are important to address in the future. But like, I don't know, to me, like, as you point out, there's not a ton of these companies. They don't, for the most part, do anything too crazy. Like Toyota participates in the captive auto finance market as a captive finance provider, and they provide loans to help people buy Toyotas. Like, that's in Toyota's interest. As a Toyota owner, it's in my interest. I benefit from it. I think the same thing is true with Square, right? I mean, it's a pretty narrow, focused bank that serves small business owners. And I think that, in the case of Square, like, the question is, with adequate supervision, and they are supervised and regulated as banks. They're not regulated under the Bank Holding Company level.
At the bank unit level, the state and the FDIC supervise them, and their insured deposits are insured. So
right. So it's not like they're completely unregulated. So they are regulated, and I feel like the benefits they provide to their customers are valuable to society. And I kind of feel like the objection here is more, the special privileges that you get at bank in terms of like your business model and your ability to benefit from net interest margin and other things that, only banks can do, the ability to access different payment rails directly, like all of the benefits of being a bank from a business model perspective. When banks object to ILC charters being given out, it feels not so much like a safety and soundness argument, but more just an argument around, we're the only ones who should get these special things.
Yeah,
and that to me,
ring fencing.
Yeah, like I totally get why they think that, but I don't know why I'm supposed to care as a consumer,
Right. This isn't my fight. So I had the impression that ILCs did not cause the financial crisis. So I just needed to fact check that. And so what I found was that Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and General Motors all converted their ILCs to become commercial banks. And then those companies also then became BHCs. And then other ILCs voluntarily closed, including the GE and Target ILCs, and then 2 small ILCs failed. So it, I don't know if that means like, it didn't sound like they fared better or worse. And also they had options that were available to them. I also think that this current regulatory oversight, quote unquote, exists because ILCs predate the Bank Holding Company Act. And so they were kind of grandfathered in. Right. And so it's not like super logical. And so I guess it could change, or I guess it doesn't have to change. But at the time when the rule is going into effect, that's not something that was seen as maybe super important or a big priority that the BHCA was supposed to address.